We got 53 Warframe and counting, since there are more on the way, and in fact Digital Extremes have teased that they will be making yet another Halloween-themed Warframe this year. If you look at it, there are plenty of Warframes we can choose from, but the reality is, out of 53, there are only a few Warframes that are being used. I'm not saying you can't play them all, but there are just those Warframes that are superb at completing missions as fast and as easily as possible, and I will try to discuss those Warframes in this video. But before we proceed, I would just like to inform you that this video is subjective since it depends on my personal experience, what I'm currently using to make complete each mission in the game fast, and the Beat Warframe content, or there was no content at all. I'm just playing. Okay, now let's dive into the video. First of all, who is the better starter Warframe? For me, it would be Mag, since she got survivability now with the help of shield gating, insane nuke power with her mag bubble, and also crowd control to help you progress in missions easily. But then again, it would be unfair to suggest to you the Warframe I'm using, as both Excalibur and Volt are also amazing starters. Volt can also give you shield, gating survivability, and he got an insane nuke power with her 4. Not to mention that he also got his electric shield to help you not just survive, but also be a good part of the Eidolon hunting mission. Among the 3 starter Warframes, Volt will give you the most benefit, as after progressing through the normal start chart content, you then can use the Warframe in Eidolon hunting. His electric shield is the best, as it gives bonus crit damage to the amp of the operator, allowing you to destroy the shield of Eidolons fast. On the other hand, Excalibur is somewhat just like Meg. He has amazing crowd control and damage with his exalted blade, and probably new players will be enticed to play this Warframe, since this poster boy is always at the corner of a Warframe advertisement. But if it was me, I would choose Volt, as aside from progression and Eidolon hunting, he can also be a good nuker in the Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, while farming focus points to unlock your focus school before you even master them with the points you gain from Eidolon hunting. Next, we talk about farming. Right now, there are 3 Warframes that I used for farming. These are Cora, Wisp, and Necros. You might ask, how the hell did Wisp become a farmer Warframe? In case you don't know, Wisp is the most popular when it comes to farming prime parts in the Steel Path Fisher survival missions. She got no ability like Necros that increases their loot gain, but she can make the whole run comfortable and easy. With her reservoir ability, she can provide a huge speed buff to movement, melee, and as well as gunfire rate. She can also give health and health regeneration buff, and then she also got Breach Surge that in one cast, it will give crowd control and then deal massive damage to enemies. Most of the time, prime parts farmers in Steel Path, Fishers just sit in one corner, let enemies come to them, and slay them with their guns. Some of you might ask also, why even play Wisp in Steel Path levels, when the best way to do it is to farm in normal Fisher missions, using speed Warframes like Volt to complete Fisher Exterminate or Capture fast? Well, that's another reason why you use Volt as your starter Warframe. But there's an advantage to farming with Wisp in Steel Path Survival Fisher. In the Steel Path Fisher, you not only get prime parts, but also a scaling Steel Essence reward. Each time you open a relic, you gain additional Steel Essence, and we all know that Steel Essence is used to purchase things like relic packs, endo, umbral former, kuva, and even riven mods from Teshin's Steel Honor Shop. So basically, if you are just chill farming with Wisp in Steel Path Fisher Survival, you will passively gain Steel Essence also to somehow gain resources needed to increase the power of your Warframe and weapons. At the same time, you will gain relic packs, which will help you replenish your relics. Speaking of relics, there are called fast frames in the game that can give you relics in about 1 minute or less. Frames like Volt, Titania, and Wukong can speed, run the Void capture missions in a normal star chart to gain Lith, Meso, and Neo relics. Titania can use her Razor Wing to fly around the map and complete the mission fast. The same goes with Wukong. He can use his Cloudwalker to rush into the captured target and get to the extraction point as quickly as possible. For Volt, he can use his speed to run as fast as possible to complete the mission. When it comes to running, though, I think Gauss is the fastest, and you can use him also in speed running the capture missions in the Void to farm some relics. His first ability, Muck Rush, can give Volt a run for his money. The only thing I dislike about it is that it's uncontrollable in tight areas. You will bump into walls and obstacles if you are not too careful with Gauss Mat Rush ability. But don't you worry, as Gauss is still a part of this list, and aside from Relic Farm, you can also use this Warframe in Steel Path and Duviri missions. I can say that Gauss is a perfect Warframe since he got speed, survivability, nuking, and buff. His abilities have perfect synergy that works together so that you can both survive and kill high-level enemies. You can use Gauss in the Duviri circuit as a nuker Warframe. His thermal sunder, with decent power strength and range in your build, pairs well with the decree system of the Duviri circuit, leading to hundreds or even millions of nuke damage. You can also use this Warframe to progress in Steel Path levels, as Gauss can almost do all game modes in the star chart except for Spy and Assassinate. Mirage is also a great nuker in the Duviri circuit, and it will let your team do the Exterminate and Defense part easily. Just combine the explosive Ledgerman and Prism combo and just watch enemies die instantly. But if there are Warframe I highly recommend in the Duviri missions, both Circuit and Duviri Experience, these are Titania and Styanax. The Pixie Warframe will give you good defense with the help of her Lantern ability. This will come in handy in Defense Mission and Excavation. While she can also kill with her pistols, and within Duviri, her exalted melee becomes insane since the melee decrees works with it, giving it insane damage. And lastly, her fourth ability lets you fly around in the Duviri mission, allowing good mobility and maneuverability. For Styanax, it's all about Nourish paired with his Rally Point and Final Stand abilities. You cast Rally Point to gain energy regeneration buff, which then boosted by Nourish, and then spam his fourth ability to kill enemies and regenerate shield per kill with the help of his third. Every enemy within Duviri is susceptible to Styanax's insane bleed damage. There's no exemption to it, and even the Steel Path Duviri worm is no match for this Warframe. But then again, these Warframes will not be available all the time in Duviri because of the randomizer mechanic. But if you have them in your selection, then don't hesitate to grab them, as it will make your progression a lot easier and fun. Now, let's talk about spy missions. For this type of mission, I highly suggest Ivara with the Infiltrate Augment, and if you can, pair it with the Perspicacity Helminth ability so that your next console hack will be 100% success. With the Infiltrate Augment, you will be able to move freely on lasers without getting detected, and with Preparation Mode, you will have energy at the very start of the mission, enough to stay invisible for the whole spy mission. But Ivara isn't just made for spy missions. With her invisibility, she is also a great candidate for Steel Path missions. Her quiver also gives a lot of amazing combos, and you can use this to kill enemies. Another usage for Ivara is conservation in open worlds. Her sleep arrow is the best tranquilizer gun, and it makes every capture successful. You can also use Equinox Sleep, but I preferred Ivara since she also got invisibility, which does not startle the animals and somehow will yield perfect capture most of the time. Speaking of open world, we all know that there are bounty missions on these parts, and even in the Zariman ship. The Warframe I'm always using for this type mission is Peacemaker Meza. This Warframe has 95% damage reduction, and her Peacemaker ability is the perfect skill for both defending targets and killing enemies fast. In Steel Path levels, though, I prefer to do a ballistic bullseye build for this Warframe, paired with a Cedo for that insane red crit nuke. Okay, let's get back to Kora and Necros first. Sorry about that, I got carried away and did not realize I mentioned Kora and Necros in the wisp farming part. Anyway, when it comes to farming resources, I switched between these frames when farming resources in the past, but right now, I spend most of my time using Kora farming resources. When it comes to endo farming, Kora is the best in solo Steel Path arena, and when it comes to farming world resources, she can be as chill as frost, dangling enemies with her strangle dome and whipping them with her whip claw. On the other hand, Necros is still great when it comes to farming, as his Desecrate never gets old, plus he can be as tough as nails and go against Steel Path levels with his Shield of Shadows augment. It's just a personal preference to use Kora more often over Necros. Sometimes I use Necros in farming damage mech parts in the Isolation Vaults, as his Desecrate does give extra parts. Now, I would also like to talk about the Elite Sanctuary Onslaught. This mission is the best when it comes to leveling your weapons fast and easy with a team. For leveling my weapons, I go with Vauban instead of the Meta Trinity. The Warframe can suck enemies with his Vortex, and this gives me the option to kill enemies myself if there is no Sarin, Volt, or Mirage available in the mission to nuke all the enemies. With Spectro-Siphon paired with the augment, I can also give energy to my team, so that is why I prefer Vauban right now in terms of leveling my weapons in the Elite Sanctuary Onslaught. If it's just beating the game mode, though, or farming the Vandal parts, then Spore's Sarin is still queen for this game mode. I also forgot to mention the part where to farm Axii relics. The best way to farm Axii relics right now is still the Disruption mission in Apollo, and Warframes like Ash and Loki will make this mission super easy with their invisibility. Nothing has changed on this mission, and Demolest units are still susceptible to heat inherit and priming combos. However, I rarely dive into Disruption missions right now since I can stack relics just by diving into Steel Path and purchasing relic packs every week. It always have guaranteed rare relics, and can hold Axii relics. There are also chances that you can gain Aya on these relic packs, which you can use to exchange for relics in the Prime Resurgence vendor. Honestly, just farming Steel Path and even Open World will reward you relic packs that will replenish your relic stacks, and you won't have to dive into any Disruption missions again. How about Railjack? Who plays Railjack anyway? I'm just kidding. Probably the best pilot for Railjack is Proti with her dispensary that can give you the energy to use your Railjack abilities. Provided that you have Equilibrium, then you can maintain this, as the Health Orb drop will also give you energy. Just make sure that you have the Synth Fiber mod in your companion so you can pick up Health Orbs even if you are in full health. And finally, let's talk about Boss Killer. I would say that the best when it comes to dealing with Star Chart bosses is Revenant with his Mesmer skin. In the past, I was using Inaros, but since Revenant came, that changed because the full invulnerability is so much better compared to high health values. Revenant can do Steel Path levels easily, also because of his insane survivability, hence making him a great Warframe to deal with bosses like the Ropalolist. There are special cases, though, wherein other Warframes are better, just like Titania is best when it comes to dealing with Lephantis, but a raw, infused Revenant is the best when it comes to dealing most of the Steel Path bosses. It's universally good and can take down bosses easily with a good weapon, and the best part is, he is also the best when it comes to Archon hunts. So just by watching this video, not only did you know the Warframe I'm using currently, but the missions that I'm currently doing in Warframe. This game's like a game full of mini-games, and it's always up to you what you will be doing in this game first and last. Now, I would also like to know what you are doing most of the time in Warframe right now. Also, please do share your favorite Warframes. Just go into the comment section below and share your suggestions, opinions, and thoughts about the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.